Production support for Ohio Educational Broadcasting award-winning News 6 has come from Whirlpool Corporation's Findlay Division, working to make your life a little easier. Additional support has come from the Northwest Ohio Educational Technology Foundation and from this public television station.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Trent of Edon Middle School of Edon, Ohio, and this is what you're going to see today on News 6. A ride in the country, a champion hog farm, and some out-of-ordinary clocks. Hi, and welcome to News 6. I'm Brian Heisler from Edon Middle School in Edon, Ohio. Here with our first story is Melissa Long.
Parish farms have been breeding champion hogs for a long time. In fact, the sales held at the farm attract buyers from all over the United States and some other countries as well. News 6 visited an award-winning hog farm.
Mr. Howard Parrish is a hog breeder. He is the fourth generation of hog breeders in the Parrish family.
How many pigs have you raised, Howard?
Well, now that's a pretty big question. I would say per year our annual production is close to 4,000 per year.
How long have you been raising pigs?
I've been raising since 1953. When I was 10 years old, I had my first 4-H pig.
What got you started on raising hogs?
I guess the main reason it got me started was I had a father in it, I had a grandfather in it, and I had a great-grandfather in it, so that makes me the fourth generation.
What is your favorite breed of pigs?
Our favorite breed, my favorite breed, and I believe the boys too, would have to say Duroc.
His skill and dedication in the business has won the farm many awards, including the top hog, 6 out of the past 7 years at the Ohio State Fair. He even accomplished a nearly impossible feat in 1982.
1982 Ohio State Fair Grand Champion Barrel and Reserve Grand Champion Barrel, that is almost an impossibility to get that done. To get that accomplished by one herd, to have the 2 best market barrows at the Ohio State Fair.
Mr. Parrish is also an experienced auctioneer. He showed us just what a hog production sale is like.
827, 28, will you? 331. I got 3,000, 3,100 on him. I got 3, 3,100 on him now. 2 now, 1, 1 on 2, yep, 2 now, 3. At 33, 4. At 3,400 on now, $500. 4, 5, 6, will you? I get 35, 600 on him. At 3,600 and I get 3,500 on now. 6, are you done? I get 35, 36 and I sold it. $3,500 on him.
Mr. Parrish and his sons raise hogs for breeding, not for eating. They use genetics and a lot of hard work to produce some of the best hogs around. People come from all over the United States and other countries to purchase one of Mr. Parrish's hogs at his annual production sales.
If you had to start all over, what would you do different?
If I had to start over, standing there about your age today, the first thing I would do, I would probably pay a little more attention in school about your age than I did. And I say that seriously.
Today's show is being produced by Mr. William Hugg's 6th grade class at Edon Middle School in Edon, Ohio. Edon is located about 30 miles northwest of Defiance. The town was founded in 1856 and has a current population of about 800.
Even though they are all around us, most of us really don't pay that much attention to clocks. We visited a man who is serious about keeping time.
What do hubcaps, plexiglass, and toilet seats have in common? They are all clocks. That's right, clocks. Mr. Wayne Pattee makes clocks out of all kinds of materials, even toilet seats and automobile hubcaps. Mr. Pattee also collects clocks, especially antiques. Some of his antiques date back to the late 1890s.
How did you get started making clocks?
I think I started with probably that VW steering knuckle up there.
How many clocks do you have?
I tried to count the clocks, and I think around 35. That's including the antiques as well as ones I've made.
How long have you been doing this hobby?
Actively as a hobby, probably just the past 4 or 5 years. Prior to that, I collected clocks ever since I got out of service. I usually buy these little clocks by the dozen, really. And I've pre-drilled this, put the works in, got little nuts put on it, and it takes nothing to tighten them. The numbers are all pre-stuck, as you can see. You figure out where you want 12. And I usually try to end up right at the end of the hand, so that it covers real well. And then in between each one of them, we put the little slices. That's a rough idea how it's done, anyway.
Like most antiques, Mr. Patty's clocks tell us a lot about the past. His first clock was his grandparents'. It dates back to around 1910. His horseshoe clock dates back to the 1950. It was originally sold by the Cook Coffee Company.
What is your most unique clock?
The most unique clock? Well, it would be a toss-up between that toilet seat and this VW steering knuckle up here.
One of his most unusual clocks is a ball bearing clock. You might think that making clocks would take a lot of time, but Mr. Petit says that it's really not that time consuming. It just takes some patience and steady hands.
Horses are not only pretty to look at, they're fun to ride. One of the best places we know to go riding is at the Walnut Hill Stables.
After a morning of classes, we thought it would be nice to go for a horseback ride in the country. We knew the perfect place, Walnut Hill Stables, right here in Edon, Ohio. Before we got to ride the horses, we wanted to ask the owner of the stables, Mrs. Estelle Wyrick, a few questions about horses.
How many horses do you have?
We have the capacity of 10 horses here. It's just a small operation.
Do you raise horses here?
Yes, sometimes I have colts. I'm going to have 2 colts in the spring, hopefully. Some I buy young, train myself, sell.
Does it cost a lot of money to raise horses?
It's not real cheap, but you can put as much money into it as you really want to. I mean, you can go expensive or you can stay simple and just ride around your house and stuff like that.
What things can you teach a horse?
Well, you can teach them their head carriage, their strides, to trust you so that you can ride them, so they have confidence in you and aren't scared of things.
Mrs. Ryrick showed us some of the important things to remember when dealing with horses. Things like being patient with the horses and being quiet around the horses are very important to good riding. Not many people get the chance to ride a horse. Living in Edon gives us the chance whenever the weather is nice and the horses are ready to go.
That's all for this week's show. Join us next week when News 6 travels to Kalida, Ohio.
Production support for News 6 has come from Whirlpool Corporation's Findlay Division, working to make your life a little easier. Additional support has come from the Northwest Ohio Educational Technology Foundation and from this public television station.